We're at the 6th pick. Doing a lot of thinking here. You can see the soft queue I already have up on some lineups that I was thinking about doing. I do want to get a Philly passing stack going. This is a sprint draft. You know me at this point. I love the sprint. Just wish it filled faster, to be honest, so I could get into more drafts. I'm even slightly considering taking Genty at 6, but I don't want to bank on getting A.J. Brown at like 19, I believe is the next pick. And taking Gibbs just always feels pretty good. Him or Lamb are both players that I really like. So while I do really want the Philly passing stack plan, I do think we're just going to go Gibbs and not, freak out too much about it. It also does open up. Kyren is a player that I do really like. So we'll get rid of all this. The other thing I was potentially leaning towards, which we still could do, I didn't have to clear him off. Taking Gibbs does not exclude us from that, is the Chicago or San Fran stack. They both play each other 17, so angling towards either one and getting some games along the way would have been fine, but that setup for Chicago San Fran is better in BBM, to be fair. Let's check out some of this, though. We're at 19, 30, 43 are the next picks we got. So theoretically, we certainly still could angle towards Philly if A.J. Brown is there, and then we see Hurts at around 40. Could certainly still happen. Not something I'm going to rule out at all. We likely will miss on Devonta, though. That'd be a little tough. We'll likely just take Brown, Hurts, and are going to miss Devonta. We'll see when he eventually goes, but Genty, very interesting. I will queue up Kyren. Could be something to potentially target. Then we'd have Seattle, Atlanta. They don't overlap too well. The main things for Detroit, we have the Rams, Steelers, and then Minnesota. So any of those are always going to be fine picks for us. I will just soft queue up these teams so I don't forget about them. Quickly do Pitt and then focus back in on my pick, because admittedly I do have a problem with getting too invested in the queue and then I don't even know when I'm up. Hand up, you got me. We'll see whether we get London or Brown here. Either way, I'm very happy. I'd be very interested in having Gibbs and then angling into the Philly passing attack. All right. London is more than fine, especially if we take Kyren at the next pick. Missing on A.J. Brown doesn't necessarily mean we have to avoid Hurts or Smith, but almost assuredly it won't be something we're keying in on like we would have with Brown. Oh, I got Halo coming in? This just might be the line. The gods might be shining down upon me, telling me this is the draft. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be listening to the multiple minutes of Halo while I draft. But yeah, LA certainly good. ATL, Tampa Bay, I do love Egbuka later. We'll see how this all goes, though. It is just a little... Tampa Bay is easy to get into. If we hit on Kyren, it might be nice. Arizona is the only one that can be a lot harder to get into if you don't get, like, McBride or Marv. There's nothing wrong with Connor, but I think pushing into the ATL passing attack, it's not to say that Connor can't have a good game against them. I just worry about it a little bit. We'll see what we have in 3 picks now. I probably... probably am just going to take Kyron. I feel like people are not appreciative of Kyron Williams. It is a slight reach. I mean, getting him at his ADP is even better, so I could cool my jets a little bit, take Marv, and reevaluate. I don't see him making it to 43. But playing into Arizona Atlanta is a fine decision, and I also like Marv. So not gonna force the hand too hard. That said, a Kyron Gibbs matchup 17 sounds like a potentially dream opportunity, especially since both their defenses have seen marked improvement over the past couple years. Not to say that the Rams' defense is amazing, but I think they do pretty well. They're no slouch, to say the least. All right. Next pick will be, what, 43? Yeah, I'd be fine with DK. Who else would we be looking at? Could go JMO. Not the worst, but our other picks are aligning more towards an ATL stack, or more so ATL focus, to be fair. Especially if we luck out and Kyron somehow does fall 7 picks. Unlikely, though, to be fair. I will queue JMO up just so we don't forget about him. Let's consider this. I'm pretty much out on the Rams at this point. Like, I'm not going to get into anyone of, like, great value if I do lean into Detroit. Pittsburgh certainly can later. Minnesota, we could take a little bit of a buy into the Addison dip. Same thing with Hawkinson or one of the running backs. I did mix up and say that Kyron would be playing Gibbs. Don't know how that slipped in my mind. I do like Jordan Mason. Aaron Jones is very good, but I am afraid of the injury bug biting that guy once again. So we avoid LA and stack into some later Pitt, Minnesota. Not the worst. And then we can pick up like Egbuka. The tough thing on missing LA is just the fact that, like, yeah, LA playing into both of our first 2 picks is the key factor there. Like, playing Detroit 15 and ATL 17 is what makes that pretty tough. I took DK just because, I don't know. I feel more than content to work into some soft minis rather than full committing to Detroit off of, like, Gibbs JMO. I mainly just don't see this being, like, a highly productive, I just don't see it being a highly productive Goff lineup. But who does our quarterback eventually route to? Hell of a song right there. Yeah, it's not Kyler. We could take, like, a naked Justin Fields. I worry about that offense a fair bit. It probably just is we're going to go ATL and miss out on 17, which isn't the most atrocious outcome. I was going to say this is probably just Pickens, but we don't get there. I'm just going to go Waddle. Play it safe. Works into my tentative plan to take Egbuka later. And he'll likely be our 5th receiver. And we work on running back. Probably take him at 78. Nope. I gotta hope he gets there at 91. I do think I'd prefer Jordan Mason at his current ADP. We can go pretty heavy and take Addison. I'm surprised. I feel like there should have been a marginally bigger drop for Addison. I'm surprised the public isn't more afraid of a potential suspension for him. Yeah, without Houston and Cincy to work into, I don't think Connor's the right play. Miami also, the reasoning for Waddle there, he does play Metcalf 15. And it aligns with Egbuka. Cincinnati we likely won't get to unless maybe it would take like Gesicki or something. Can take Taj Brooks later too for a dart throw in terms of upside. Okay. I don't think I want to take Godwin. It's not a bad pick. To be fair, he might be a better pick than Addison here. I do have to remember I'm in sprint mode, not BBM mode. Baker at 92 would exclude us from Egbuka though. That's the tough part there. We're just gonna go Caleb. I'm happy with that. I'm content with that selection. Pretty much any rookie running back with the draft capital that the higher end ones got this year have upside in the fantasy playoffs. And assuming we can get into Cleveland later, we do line up pretty well for some sneaky pit value. Since they play Miami, Detroit, and then Cleveland. Cleveland is the final one there. Judkins still being at around 80, I feel like has to be because there are just less drafts than BBM. Like, in BBM, he's fallen to hundreds. And I think his ADP is around maybe 90 something. So I feel like the lack of drafts in the sprint has led to a pretty delayed ADP adjustment here. I mean, why is everyone afraid of Debo here? All right. Buffalo ain't bad. I don't love Shakir in this format though. I do not want to do that. I am kind of in an interesting predicament here. I honestly think I'm just going to reach on Egbuka here. We guarantee him, and then we target like one of these running backs in the next pick. I feel good about that. I'm content with that. I love Egbuka as a player. Shakir is very good, but this is a half PPR contest. Buffalo doesn't align as well. I mean, getting into Cleveland later would help a little bit, but it's just a guarantee that we get like Tampa Bay into this on a player with, I perceive, a ton of upside. Early season, especially if he can beat out, he's on here somewhere, McMillan. If he can beat out McMillan, even more so, but like, I just think he's too talented to not be on the field, commanding a decent target share, and potentially like popping off in these fantasy playoffs for like a game or two. He's that good in my opinion. I do think we do have an important question here regarding Judkins or like Jordan Mason. I mean, Judkins is the value, to be fair. Likely won't be taking Warren. That would be a too rich of a bet on the Steelers' rushing game for me. We'll see, though. I'm happy with either Judkins or Mason. The ballsy move would be to let Judkins fall even further. Like, I mean, that headline kind of does all we need it to do. In terms of generating some ADP value for us. With Minnesota, too, taking Jordan Mason allows us to potentially work into the later running backs in New York or in, what's the other good one? Dallas. New York or Dallas lets us get like our running back 4 right there. Feel pretty good about some minis. Scroll that down for you. Who is the quarterback for this lineup, though? It probably still is. It's probably like Penix, and I have to take Kyle Pitts later. That's what it appears to be to me. I do think we go Mason here. Risk it on Judkins potentially falling farther. Because to me, that's the real value in drafting Judkins right now with no idea what's going on or what's happening, is when you get him in the hundreds. Because that's whereabout to me. If he, I mean, who knows? There is a small slimmer of a chance that like he just doesn't even get, like, I don't know, it completely blows up his career. I don't see that happening. More likely than not, at some point once this rolls through or something, unless he goes to prison, he's gonna sign and he'll get suspended probably like 3-4 games, and at the 100 ADP mark past that, I like, even with the suspension, I don't think he falls too much further than that. Okay, let's adjust this. Warren won't be the pick, so I probably shouldn't leave him up there. Did Tracy go? And if so, where? Or is he that much farther behind Scadaboo? Oh, wow. It is interesting how these different contests have different ADPs. Tracy's now ahead of Scadaboo and BBM, so that's interesting. Alright. Kyler this late might be the play. Genuinely. It's not like, oh, this late, but like, none of the other picks on the board scream value to me, and it gives us a pretty decent opportunity. Because we have the safety of Kyler, and then we can really pin up the upside of taking Penix and the bane of fantasy manager's existence, Kyle Pitts. What are the picks looking like? 126 and 139. Murray does give me the ability to hopefully get Penix right at ADP value and not have to reach. And then 150 should line up well for Pitts, yeah. So if we get Penix, we know Pitts is that pick. In the meantime, at 115 and 126. Let's see. Are there any other tight ends I should queue up? I mean, maybe an Njoku, but I feel like his price is a little rich. Knowing that, like, especially in the fantasy playoffs, I unfortunately, while he should be, by what I perceive to be the talent of the quarterbacks in Cleveland, Flacco probably won't be the quarterback in 15, 16, 17, and that's the real upside for Njoku. So, probably better picking something like the Eliminator. Gesicki would be a fine late pick, and then we have like Ott and stuff like that. I don't think we need to worry about tight end too much right now. Honestly, Tracy. Tracy's a solid choice right there. Okay. I just take... Yeah, I could, but... What about New England? Yeah, I'm just going to take the value in Ramondre. I think he's undervalued. I don't think he's going to completely disappear. Doesn't work out matchup-wise at all, really, but, like, you can see this queue. We don't have many running backs pinned up right now. So, could argue, like, the ceiling on Tootin is higher, but I think I have the ceiling taking Caleb Johnson and Jordan Mason. Like, if they pop off to their true ceiling, I think we have that covered. We just need a little bit of, you know, stability and a premium handcuff at that with Ramondre. I'm admittedly stuck again, though. Kirk ain't bad, but he ain't great. Ray Davis or Tyjae Spears? I think it's a Ray Davis this early. Ray or Javonte? Probably Ray. I just think the upside if Cook actually does have the balls to sit out is pretty valuable. Yeah, let's go Ray Davis. And then we're pretty much feeling real good at running back. Probably don't need Rashad White. He likely won't be there anyway, but I'll keep him up in case I need a panic pick. I'm going to keep everyone except Njoku in their proper spots. And we'll see how this ends up. Stafford is not the play with this lineup. $155, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, we're just hoping, like, we're in a waiting game right now. We gotta hope that it's Penix into Pitts. Algier ain't bad, but I think we're pretty good at running back. If we do hit Penix, a late wide receiver that would be great is McLeod. I think he's another super undervalued player. Come on. No further debts to be paid. Fuck yeah. Alright. Locking in Pitts next. I don't think this is a Jonnu play. Especially at ADP, I prefer these other two tight ends. Don't need Rodgers anymore. I think we're fine with Penix, Kyler. I think we'll just move him down for the slight chance that he does become a value. Post Pitts, we are 163 into 174. 163 would probably just be Gesicki. I think that's a good play. Get a little bit of Cincinnati for our Arizona game. I don't think they planned anything else. Oh, they do play Miami, so yeah. I'm perfectly happy with Gesicki. Baltimore actually, with New England, could make sense. Taking a late... Where's he at? Where's he at? I'll late Justice Hill if for some reason Hunter isn't there. Yeah, bring me Kyle Pitts, please. Come on. Thank you. Thank you! Alright. And then we'll line up with Gesicki. I think the ceiling play is to bank on this Atlanta offense really turning it around and just sticking at 2 tight ends. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I have to do. If Otten does reach like a good value, I'll be happy to take him. But I think the rest of the way, we're probably just taking like some depth pieces that play into games that we're already stacking into. Or haven't yet stacked into, but play into like our primary team's... Fuck that fly. Our primary team's schedule. Like, the Rams play both Detroit and Atlanta. Detroit we didn't stack too heavy on, but like, having Gibbs and a prime Atlanta stack is all the reason to like, maybe Tutu Atwell has a random 2 TD outburst over the fantasy playoffs. And considering how weak we are at wide receiver, not in terms of like top end, but in terms of depth right now, I think it's a fine decision. There is, I mean, Tillman would be fine. We have some Buffalo, we have some Pitt. So it's not the worst pick. If he isn't there, I'm more than happy with Gesicki. But I've said it before, like, all of these tight ends should realistically, like, Cincinnati does play well into what we're doing, which is why it is, to be fair, a pretty interesting conversation over who you should take between these two at this pick. Without those matchups, like, incentivizing you, all of these tight ends are just the same thing season-long output-wise. So, like, you don't get your fucking head in a twist, you know? If, you know, you can just bump down a couple picks and take Otten instead of Gesicki, especially since Otten does play 2 matchups for us as well. So, and to be fair, into a bigger stack, might I add. Yeah, I think we're going to take Tillman here. Just an ADP value, plays into some of the matchups. If some way, somehow, I definitely think he's much better with Flacco playing. But if I happen to be wrong, and somehow they are the, whether it's Shador or Pickett or Dylan Gabriel, if they're somehow giving life to Brown's end of the season, I still think Tillman's pretty good. And in best ball, where he's like a boomer bust kind of receiver, he's perfect week-to-week ceiling that we need right now in our depth pieces. Obviously, best outcome here is if somehow Gesicki lands it in the next pick. I would not bank on that. More likely than not, just taking Otten. After that, I think we have 3, 187, 198, and then our final pick. I think I just do some reaches. Stack into the main thing. Alright, that's fine. Got close, but no cigar. We'll take Otten here and be fairly happy. And I think that is going to close out tight end still for us. Like, we're really just banking on Pitts vastly outperforming ADP and Atlanta being a true receivers offense. If we really need to, we could take Freiermuth, but I think that's kind of I don't think that's the right play. I think we get better ceiling working into, like, Atwell and, I don't know, Hunter, or taking Justice Hill, something like that. Well, without Gesicki, to be fair, Hill isn't too prime of a target. Next pick's what? 187, then 198. 187. Oh, Jalen Noel's fine. I think at this point of the draft, you can wash out a little bit of the PPR mindset. Noah will just be a fine, okay pick. I mean, he doesn't play too well into our matchups, so we can consider some other things. But he's not the worst pick in this range. Honestly, we'd rather take Michael Wilson, stack a little bit more into Kyler. If we see one game, like a one game out on McBride, there's a chance Wilson can provide a little bit of value. So let's stack up further into Kyler. It's definitely the right pick here, especially getting him 9 spots after ADP. That'd be more than worth. And then with the final picks, yeah, we get some LAR. If Wilson isn't there, I honestly think we do just ignore Jalen Knoll. I think that's the right play. I will also admit, I feel like the Jarquez Hunter hype has gotten a little bit out of control. This ADP is much more within the realm of, sanity. I feel like he just keeps creeping up in BBM, and I really just I don't see it. This is what I mean about Hunter, though. Hunter got drafted where? 186? Like, what do we... You're buying a little bit too much into what he could be rather than what he is. Which, to be fair, chase the ceiling. I don't blame you for it, but I think you gotta temper yourself a little bit. I think it might just be 2-2 Ray McLeod. Can these 5 running backs carry us through? Let's hope so. Taj Brooks could be fine. I think Tutu Atwell has to be one of the picks. There goes Taj Brooks, so that saves me some contemplation. Yeah. I think we go Tutu Atwell. And then we maybe... Interesting conundrum here. I really did think Taj Brooks would be there the next pick. I think that's ultimately just like is what it is. I mean, I do love Ollie Gordon. Hand up, I'm a sucker for him. Yeah. Let's go Ollie Gordon. I think, we do need... The higher ceiling play is the targets being more concentrated on London and Pitts rather than being more spread out to give McLeod enough, especially with Mooney there. So I think the higher upside is Gordon potentially taking a Mostert role. So we'll close out this draft with Ollie Gordon. I like this one a fair bit. I think we played well into a lot of minis, ended up stacking up a fairly good lineup here. I can hopefully do something over that 3-game stretch and make us some good money in the sprint. Yeah. Taking Ollie Gordon at the last one, and that'll be the end of this. Appreciate you watching. Subscribe if you want to see more of these. I'll be live. More so live than doing these pre-recorded ones. Probably won't see me until Friday live. There'll be another one tomorrow. Pre-recorded just because I got my mother's birthday and then Fantastic Four. So I'll be a little time crunched. That's why I wanted to get these in tonight. But we will be drafting every day until the season starts. So, hope you're there along the way. Appreciate you. Peace.